to put them all on mute, Fernando.
Yes, let's do that. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. This is Fernando from Ignite Global, and we have Benita from BLSS Coaching, and also we have Lux here today. And we are very honored and privileged that all of you have joined us today. And I'm very excited to present my mentor coach, Benita Stafford-Smith, Master Certified Coach and Accredited Coach Supervisor to you with this live coaching supervision demonstration. Before we begin, I'm going to introduce Coach Benita formally. So Benita Stafford-Smith is a Master Certified Coach, an Accredited Coach Supervisor, and a Certified Systemic Coach. Overall, Benita has proudly coached over 5,000 hours with hundreds of clients spread across 3 continents. Currently, Benita manages the coaching practice for an HR consulting, where leading organizations and their executive teams trust Benita's expertise to enable them to get clarity on the results they want to achieve and how to accomplish them. She was the founding president of the ICF Oman chapter, past EMEA Regional Advisory Council member, and was recently elected as chair of the ICF Global Board for Credentials and Standards, among a number of other roles at ICF Global Committees. Benita is the author of 2 published books, co-author of another 2, a frequent blogger, and has articles published in traditional media outlets. And we also have the coachee today, Lux Hettiadra, who is leading the learning and development interventions at Ignite Global, and she's also an internal coach. So may I invite Coach Benita to take over from now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. So by now, everyone should know how old I am. After that long bio, thank you very much. And welcome everyone to this live demonstration of supervision. I'm looking forward to supervising coaches' practices, coaching practices. But first of all, I'd like to start with sharing my screen and telling you a little bit about what supervision is, because some of you may not be familiar with coaching supervision. It's fairly new in the coaching arena. So first, who is it for? Coaching supervision is for external coaches, internal coaches, and managers or leaders that use coaching skills with their teams. It offers you the chance to step back, reflect on your practice, and discuss with a learning partner how to ensure your practice continues to benefit all stakeholders, including yourself. It focuses on 3 areas: on support, resourcing, and development. Through reflective dialogue, all coaching supervision sessions are confidential, so it provides a safe space for exploration, but it also guarantees the confidentiality of your clients, your coachees. Some of the things that people bring to supervision are difficult coaching engagements, ethical dilemmas, unresolved conflicts or unclear agendas by their clients, confusion about the direction of the engagement, and often to ensure the excellence in delivery of their coaching practice. So what's the difference between coaching supervision and coaching mentoring, people often ask. So coach mentoring is typically focused on core competencies. It's an ICF requirement to gain or upgrade your credential. In supervision, we say who you are is how you coach. As for myself, as an accredited coaching supervisor and an MCC coach, I enjoy delivering supervision to both individuals and groups as I'm supporting courageous and ethical coaches wanting to ensure their standards, growth, and development as thriving professionals. And now I understand we have such a coach with us. Lux is a thriving professional ready to ensure her standards, her growth, and her development in our live demonstration. So I'd like to welcome Lux to the call. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Lux, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you
There
so
we
much,
go.
Benita.
Hello. Okay.
Hi.
Hello. So as people are listening to our session today, I'm going to ask you to think about three things. And Lex, I'm going to ask you to sort of concentrate on these three qualities today also.
Mhm.
So for everyone, respectful humility, please. And vulnerability and courage. So Lex, thank you very much for volunteering to share a coaching case with us today that we're going to have a look at. Are we ready?
Yes, we are ready. And
Okay,
thank you so much for this opportunity. I am dying to be supervised by you.
thank you. So what is it that you'd like to have a look at today?
Okay. I had a session which was a complete disaster and which made me I know I'm laughing right now, but it at that time I felt so uncomfortable and I felt so bad, and I was feeling like I was such a bad coach. So I thought maybe this is a good opportunity for me to discuss about that.
That's perfect. Perfect thing to bring to supervision. And it's not rare. You aren't the only person this has ever happened to, I guarantee that. So it's all good. So tell
It's
me
good
what
to know.
it felt like a disaster. What does that mean?
Okay, so would that be okay if I tell you about the session?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So I had this client, and from the very beginning of the session, I felt like he was expecting advice. He was expecting suggestions. And so whenever I asked him a question, he would ask a question back. And it was so difficult. And there was no way that it wasn't working. And he just didn't get it. And I felt like I didn't get him. And then um, in the middle of the session, I started feeling so annoyed with the client. Like I was so annoyed with him, and I felt so angry. and and I was thinking, I kind of felt like he was judging me as a bad coach, and so for a moment I realized, I caught myself and I realized, oh my god, I'm judging myself for judging the client who I think is judging me. And there was like a lot of judging going on, and it just led to I just wanted to scream because it was so frustrating. And I felt like he was not willing to work, and I think I was so confused, I didn't know what to do. And I was also kind of feeling angry with myself because I felt angry at him, and I also realized I was not present with the client. And then I was like, okay, where is my empathy? I'm supposed to be empathetic. So where is my empathy? I just don't understand this client and all that. And to make the situation worse, he got a call and he's like, oh, I have to take this call. So he hung up on me and he just left. And he called me back like after 15 minutes. And I was at that point, I lost it. I was like, sorry, we can't continue this session. And it was like so unpleasant. And the main thing for me was like after the session, I felt so upset because I felt like I was a bad coach and I did such a bad job as a coach. And it was very uncomfortable.
And how long did you carry that bad feeling around for?
Well, I still do. I still
You
feel
still
that.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, still do. Yeah. What would you like to
Yeah.
do with that bad feeling? If you could do
Um,
anything with it, what would you like to do with it?
I would like to get rid of that feeling because I know I'm not a bad coach. It's,
Ah,
uh,
okay.
yeah, that's the funny thing. I deep down, I know I'm not a bad coach, and but it feel whenever I think about it, I can feel like in my body it's just like that.
And that's interesting. Lexa, where do you feel it in your body?
uh, Mostly it starts with my throat, and it kind of spreads to my hands, and it's like kind of like a cold, it's like almost like embarrassment,
Mm.
and like a little like light going in my arms, hands, and I feel it also in my like somewhere here.
Yes, in the throat area here. Something that needs to be said. Yes?
Yeah.
Something sitting there that needs to be said.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the voice that needs to be given airtime? What is that that's sitting here? What is that voice?
I think it's my own voice that's so critical.
It's a critical voice.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it want to say that you're not letting it say? It's still sitting there. Well, what is it wants to say? It's okay, take your time. No, there's no rush to answer.
Maybe the what it wants to say is actually not critical. It's about me being critical towards myself. What comes to my mind is something like, yes, I am a coach and I'm supposed to catalyze and support the client, but at the same time, I'm also still a human, and so I can make mistakes and I can have a bad session.
So that voice wants to tell you it's okay.
Yeah.
The world isn't going to end. Is that what it wants to tell you?
Yeah.
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 What do you think? Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a learning experience because that's the first time I ever felt that way, and I'm still a new coach. I don't have lots of experience. I only have like 100 or 120 hours of coaching experience. So maybe it's just that I have a lot of expectations for me to be really good at like every session. So maybe just it's okay. Just it doesn't mean that I'm going to be a bad coach.
Yes, it happened. Does that voice want to say anything to that client that you're talking about? It's the stuff that's sitting here. What does it want to say to that client?
For the client, I want to say sorry because I was angry. And I'm sorry. I judged you. I thought you are like a wall.
A
That
what?
a wall, a wall.
Wall.
Like, and because at the time it felt like I'm trying to walk through a wall where there is no door. So it's like banging
Boom.
all the time. Boom. Yeah. So I want to tell my client, I'm sorry that I was so critical towards you and to me. And I'm sorry that I judged you and was angry at you.
What do you want to tell that client you were assuming? What do you want to tell the client you were assuming? What
The
did you say
client,
you were? Yeah, you were assuming things on the part of the client. What do you want to tell that client? What was your assumption to the client?
I was assuming that he doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to put in the work. And he
So
was avoiding.
this little voice that's sitting here is saying, come on, client, you weren't willing to work.
Yeah.
Is that what it's saying?
Yeah.
What do you think would happen to the wall when you said that?
I think the voice is also saying that he wasn't ready to be a coach just yet. It wasn't his time.
And go ahead. You were going to say something else.
And so I feel um, he wasn't ready, and I was trying to create the door. So it wasn't working.
You wanted to push him through that door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't going.
No, he wasn't going.
No.
It's like trying to take my cat for a walk. It's like not happening.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I have this picture then of this client, and you're trying to drag him through the wall, and he's not coming.
Mm-mm.
Right? So what if we could change that picture, what would we change it to?
Mm. Mm. I could leave the door open and leave him alone.
And what? And lead him along? Is that what you said?
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to drag him through the door, you'd rather just accept who he is and leave him right there at the door.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I feel good.
That feels
I
good to
actually,
leave him there.
yeah. Yeah. To realize that, oh, actually leaving him alone at the door is an option, and so that he can walk in or out whenever he's ready.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
That's a learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now where's that? Is that voice still here? Is it still hanging out here?
Mm, it's not. It's um, it felt like something was stuck when we started talking about it, and it's kind of that feeling that cringed my skin, but it's actually it's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's crazy.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So just briefly, can we have a look at contracting? How do you contract with your clients when you get into it before a session like that? How do you contract so you can get out of it alive without feeling horrible? How have you set that up?
You mean like the agreement?
Yes.
Yeah. So we send him the agreement and he sign it, and he understand, and I also explain to him what's happening, so that he's aware what we do, and so he was aware that I wasn't going to give him any advice. I told him like this is not like a consultant session, and we have this creative process. So I explained to him, and yeah.
So you began the session with him knowing what the contractual agreements were between the two of you.
Yeah.
But then when you got into it and the contract was broken initially by him,
Yeah.
what did you do?
Oh.
Oh. So.
I could have reminded him, like, remember, this is not a consulting session. So especially when he asked advice, like suggestions, he was expecting strong suggestions. So Ah, interesting. I never thought about that.
You
To
could
tell
take care.
him.
You could take care of yourself a little better in that session. Is what I heard. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I could have, reminded him what we discussed at the beginning of the session. And I don't know why I didn't do that.
Well, it's fine. Sometimes we don't remember. Sometimes we just learn from that session.
Yeah, then from today onwards, I will never forget, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the middle of a session when it's not going well, and you've got this stuck voice that can't really say anything, and you internalize it into yourself, what would you like to do differently with that? You could just imagine changing that. If we had a man, we could just say, okay, what can I do differently in the middle of a session that's going bad?
Yeah. At some point, I realized that it's best if I kind of stop the session
Okay.
immediately. But I felt like I didn't know how to do it. Like I didn't know how to find the right time, or what to say to him, what to tell him.
So what stopped you was you were unsure of how to do it. Is that what I'm hearing? You knew that it would be good, but you stopped yourself and you waited for the right opportunity to do it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if we grabbed all our courage and said, what could you do differently in the middle of the session?
So the reason why I didn't do it is that I felt if I say, okay, we have to stop the session, somehow I gather that courage and say it, I felt I was kind of letting him down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because you're responsible for his well-being, right? Yes?
I guess no. I don't know, maybe yes. But I felt responsible. I wanted to respect his time, and I felt he gave me time. I mean, we had this hour, and now if I stop, am I disrespecting the hour? And is it like letting him down? But I think it's very clear to me that was the right thing to do, because he didn't care anyway. When he had the call, he took it. He didn't really care about my time. I mean, it doesn't mean that tick for tack I should have done the same just because. But I think if like letting him, I mean, like stopping the session would have been the right thing for him as well. So
And you couldn't force that, right? No. Tell me more about that. Like you can't force it.
Honestly, at one point, when I said like I was so angry, I knew that this has to stop, but I just felt like I was frozen. Like I wanted to say like, but it wasn't coming. So
we're back to the being stuck and frozen. It isn't coming out.
Yeah, it wasn't coming out. But looking back at the situation now from here, it would have been so much better if I had that courage and said, hey, listen, I think we need to stop the session, and then maybe we will try another time or something. I don't know.
Lux, where will you get the courage from? You said, if I had the courage. Where is that courage? Where is it? Where is that courage?
I think it's within me. And realizing it's the right thing to do will give the courage.
Say that again. When what?
when realizing it's the right thing to do will give the courage. Yeah, rather than just trying to because I wasn't present. I was angry. I was annoyed with him. I was judging everyone involved. So of course it wasn't working. So realizing that I'm not serving my client in any way, let it go will give the courage next time.
So the courage is there. You just have to figure out a way to get to access it when you're in difficulty. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
It's there. What does it look like, that courage? If you could call it something, what does it look like?
The courage looks like wings.
Wings. Nice. So those wings, how can you strap those wings on? Where yeah. Can you just grab them when you need them? Or are they hidden, or are they just there and you can just get those wings?
Yeah. So I will have those wings attached to my invisible coaching suit. And
Invisible what?
the coaching suit, like the
okay, the coaching coat. Okay.
Yeah, the
you
coaching
strap
coat.
those wings on there. Okay.
Yeah. And then it's like it's like knowing this is the right thing to do, letting go, and whatever it is that I need courage for, so that I know I already have them. They are already present, so I just have to open them.
That's beautiful. It's very beautiful. So you can just grab those wings when you need them.
Yeah. Oh my God, I feel so like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that feeling, but it's like
yeah. Is there anything else around that session that we need to explore today? Is there anything else that's sitting there still uncomfortable? Are we good?
I think we are good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your new wings.
Thank you. Thank you so much for helping me to discover them. And it's good to know that it's, you know, I do have this power, and now that I know what to do better next time. So I'm so happy, and I'm hoping that I will meet someone who will be a little bit difficult, so I can practice my wings.
Well, I think in the coaching profession, you'll have opportunities to practice your wings. They'll serve you and your clients well.
Yeah.
So, great. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Lex, for being vulnerable and courageous with us today.
Thank you, Benita, for your support and for the wonderful session and for my new wings. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm going to open it up now to cute questions anyone has. Lux, are you okay to answer questions, or do you want me to just answer questions? Okay, so any questions for myself or for Lux? Fernando, maybe you can unmute.
Yeah, I have a question, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Hi, thank you very much, Lux and
Benita.
Benita, sorry, I'm looking for your picture because Benita is pinned to the screen and I can't see you at the moment. But anyway, then there's, okay, let me put on gallery view. I can see you now. Thank you, Benita.
Sure.
So the question is that I could see that it's very different to ICF mentor coaching. But I just wanted to hear from you in terms of what are the key differences, because say, for example, just for example, I'm an ICF mentor coach, but I don't just do mentor coaching. I very much work behind the scenes to understand the psychology of the client, where they're stuck, what challenges they have, why is it, what's going on behind the scenes, behind the curtains, and working with them to release all of those things and create an awareness of it. So for me personally, at least the way I do my practicing, I don't see that much of a difference. What about you? Where do you see the differences, and where is the demarcation line, if any, at all? Or is it just different words from different institutes?
No. So let me say, first of all, congratulations. That's how you're mentoring people, because you're doing more than mentoring. So congratulations. And I would invite you to think about taking some supervision training and becoming a supervisor. I would invite you to that. But the main differences I see is people come to a mentor coach for their expertise. And that's usually around the core competencies and how that's delivered. So typically a mentor coach will work with a coach on core competencies. In supervision, as you said, you work more with who the person is.
Yeah.
You notice I didn't ask Lux about what core competencies she was missing or could use.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about competencies. And normally when I do mentor coaching, we talk about how the coach's session demonstrates competencies. So for me, that's the difference.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And for me, they are back to back, meaning that a conversation can never be about just competencies. It's who the person's always being. And I also teach coaching, but for me, right from the first day I meet people that I teach, it's essentially all about who you're being. Who are you? Who are you showing up as, and working on your self-awareness from day one. So one last question on this. So do you feel that it's necessary to get a specific supervision qualification? Because I do work at a very, very deep level at a person. So is it necessary to get supervision training?
Let me ask you this question. You do coach training, correct?
Yeah.
So if someone comes to you and says, but I already work as a coach, do I really need to have coach training? What would you tell them?
Absolutely, yes, because I know the finer details and the final differences.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Okay. And if you can recommend any fantastic institutes, it'll be great to have your advice on it.
If you go to, there's an association called the Association of Coaching Supervision, and they will list the accredited schools on, they'll list the prominent coaching supervision schools on their website.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you'll get lots of good information about supervision there. I completed mine at the Coaching Supervision Academy out of the UK, but they bring their programs all around the world. It was a 2-year study, not full-time, but 2-year part-time in total.
Yeah.
And it was an intense training, believe me. Very intense, but it was really worth it, really interesting. So I would encourage you to explore it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Will do.
Anybody else have any questions that they have about coaching supervision?
Coach Benita, since we are on the topic of coaching training for specifically supervisors, can this coaching supervision training also be either ACSTH or ACTP?
No, it's not. ICF does not accredit coaching supervision. ICF accredits coaching training, not coaching supervision. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So when is the best time to take the course of the coaching supervision?
What's the question? When did I start?
When is the best time? Okay, for example, now I'm the PCC. I'm not the I will go for the MCC. Yeah.
Yes.
So when is the best time to study about it?
Very good question, Jenny. Very good. Thank you for that. So to be admitted into a coaching supervision training, you need to be an experienced coach already. By experience, I mean, if you're an ACC coach, you're probably not going to be accepted into a program. If you're a PCC coach, just about ready to be an MCC, I'm sure there'll be an interview process, and they will determine whether you're ready for the training or not. So go ahead now. If you're a PCC with lots of experience, absolutely take the training. But not if you're, it's not for beginner coaches. It's one of the things about accredited coach supervision training is it's very experienced coaches who enter the program.
Because when I look into about your your demo, I just realized that it is still also have the contract agreement, and then it is more or less the same as the coaching process that we are now doing. Is it correct for my understanding?
It's not to me, but it may be to you. That is certainly not how I would have coached Lux. Coaching has, to me, has a different objective. It isn't about, if I was coaching her, I probably would have explored more around in the very beginning, rather than let her come in, connect with what was going on with her. I probably would have asked her more about her process before I asked her to connect with who she was, in what was going on inside her. So for me, coaching is a more not necessarily goal, but achievement focused, and coaching supervision is not achievement focused.
It will be just more focusing on a person.
Yes. So we absolutely believe in coaching supervision, that who you are is how you coach. And we all coach differently, right? We have, I forget how many MCCs and PCCs and ACCs in the world, and everybody coaches differently. So it isn't right coaching supervision isn't right or wrong. It's just refining yourself as the instrument. Is that?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions around it?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Hi.
If you could describe the process inside of you during the supervision.
Curious, wondering what's going on. Well, I'm excited about it during supervision. I was really excited to see what was happening with Lux. Where was that voice, and what did it look like, and what did her courage look like? So I was really curious about, wow, what does she see?
Okay.
Right.
So, how you followed the process? Yeah, that's magic, I would say.
Well, it appears to be magic. It isn't. It's actually skills. There's a really interesting supervision model called the 7-eyed model, which, so, you notice how we looked at the relationship between Lux and her client. That's one of the eyes we looked through. What's their relationship? She was clear it was a new person. They had done some contracting in the beginning, right? So that was one of the eyes we looked through. Right? Then we might look through the other eye. We look through what's the relationship between her and that client. So what kind of relationship did they have? It wasn't an equal relationship. Did you notice? So we kind of looked at through that eye. It's a really interesting model. I'm not going to go through each of the eyes, and you guys will get bored. But I would encourage you to look it up. It's developed by Peter Hawkins and Smith, I think, developed it. And it's called the 7-eyed model. So do a Google search. And one of the really interesting things, we did not use it in Lux's session because it wasn't appropriate, but one of the really interesting eyes to explore is from the organization. What's the wider context that's happening? So for example, right now we're in COVID, and that is affecting all our clients, but it's affecting them differently. So when we look through this eye, what else is happening in the system? How is that expressed by the coach and the client together? So it's quite fascinating to use the different eyes and have a look at different things. You know, what's the relationship between myself and myself as a supervisor and Lux as the coach? What kind of relationship do we have? Right? And the client's actually sitting in the room with us. We have to always remember that. And so that client is sitting there through Lux. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very. Thank you.
Also the coaching school that I attended, they published a book, and their model is called Full Spectrum Coaching. You can also look that up, Full Spectrum Coaching. It's also a very fascinating model with 3 pillars in it that are really interesting. But it's a never-ending journey, just like coaching. Coaching supervision is never ending. There's lots of models that you can, you know, adult development plays in a lot. Well, you know, do you have a client who's 20 years old, or do you have a client who's 30, 40, 50? They're going to show up differently, and you have to keep that in mind. So, yeah, enough about models. Models are fun, but thank you. Thank you for the question, Maria.
Hello.
Hello, Mustafa. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry I joined late. I had some technical issues, so I missed part of the beginning. So let me. My question is, I keep on hearing these references to ICF, ACC, PCC, MCC. I was certified through a different channel. I took, it was a 2 years process. We had 3 days a month, so it's a serious thing. It's the lead Coaching Institute certification.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I would like, how do you establish the bridges between these? And is it a requirement? Do I, now that I'm a certified coach according to the Lead Institute, should I do you know, some kind of certification again with ACC and PCC? That's the first part of my question. Bear with me if you don't mind, now that I have you on the ground. My second question is actually how, you know, the getting started is probably the difficult part. I come from a really corporate background. I have more than 30 years, and I really would like to put this to a benefit. Unfortunately, now I'm using all this experience more as a consultant than as a coach, and I would like to establish the shift. Now, I tell you frankly, I always struggle with what they call in French, marée haute, marée basse, i.e., you know, I'm the one who knows, or I'm the one here for my coachee. I'm listening to it. So I don't know whether you're getting what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I sort of get what you're saying. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll answer your first question about the credential. I can't answer that question for you. You're the only one who can answer that. And I guess the question I was asked is, what is the purpose of a credential for you? You know, the ICF credential is recognized globally, worldwide. So it has more recognition, and I would say especially has more recognition in the corporate world. I might be biased here, but it's my opinion. So again, because it constantly, and so does the AMCC credential, by the way. It constantly asks you to to learn and renew and learn and renew, which I think is really important. That we don't, you know, get a credential and then stagnate there. Okay, I got my credential, I'm good. So it depends what the purpose. If you just want a piece of paper that says I'm this, then okay, you have the piece of paper. But to me, a credential is something that's alive. It's always evolving and always growing. So it depends what your what your purpose is. And neither one is right or wrong. You have to make that decision. Does that?
I'm totally convinced that it's a never-ending process. Obviously, I'm totally sold on that.
Yes. So, you know, the different credential levels are just, it's verification for you and for the clients who hire you. Is what it is. It's giving them the assurance that you've been assessed by an outside entity. And so it's their assurance of quality. And then the second question was that you feel like you kind of bounce back and forth between consulting and coaching. You're not quite sure which one you are at any given moment. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah.
Sometimes I put in this leg and I'm a consultant. Sometimes I put in that leg and I'm a coach, and I'm not quite sure which one I really want to be when I grow up. Right?
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
Yeah. So I think that's the answer to the question: is you picking? Do you want to be just one of those?
No, I think they help each other. You see, depending on the situation, they help each other. It's you know, you all sometimes position you're more offering your knowledge and, you know, and expertise and stuff like that. And on the other side, some instances, no, they're more for the client, hearing him out, shedding lights on few aspects, so to help him take the decision and basically ownership for his own growth.
Yeah, so they both have a different purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? They have complementary skills, absolutely, but they do have different purposes. You hire a consultant for a different purpose than you hire a coach. But consultants use coaching skills. Managers use coaching skills. Mentors use coaching skills. They use the skills, but they don't come in as a pure coach. And, you know, it's fine. Use the coaching skills. The world needs coaching skills. If you don't want to be just a pure coach, it's fine. Use the skills everywhere. Use it in your work, in your family, in your community. It makes a better world. Does that sit okay with you? Is that what you're looking for?
It's okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions from Lynette? Looks like she wants to ask a question, but we can't hear you, Lynette.
Probably you'd like
now
to...
we can. Oh, Maria. Yes?
Yeah. Probably you would like to comment on the session by yourself, would you?
You know, I'm always amazed in supervision sessions by what unfolds. I think that's and you know, thanks to Lux for taking me on that journey and being willing to take me on that journey. She took me with her. She trusted me. So my comments are, it's absolutely fascinating. And just, I think supervision, like coaching, is an honor. And it's a privilege that we get to do. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else with a question?
I think Lynette is trying to talk, but her voice was not coming.
Can you hear me, guys?
Ah, now we can hear you. There.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
There's something wrong with anyway, I just want to see if I really understood it right, because you said that supervision coach would be about development, resourcing, support, and all that. And then you said it is not achievement focused, like coaching or mentor coaching would be. So does that mean, do I understand it right, that supervision coaching would be more on really taking a look at the coach and how he or she can, according to her own style or personality, can develop or can improve the coaching just by looking at her? And I heard you said that through different eyes, relationships, and also through the coaches, how the coach sees himself or herself as a coach and as an individual. So how would you
And by the way, I'm going to stop you. That's a perfect description. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice.
Okay. So, so how is, I know it's not achievement focused, but for you as a supervision coach, a supervisor, I don't know what to call it, how would you know that you have achieved? I know it's quite ironic, right? There's this certain, how do you achieve? You don't. So you just,
I don't know.
it's the coach, the client who will be realizing that, hey, I'm doing these things differently and I should be doing another approach or something like that, right?
Yes, and it evolves. So, you know, do we achieve? I'm not sure. We evolve.
Another,
Right?
okay, another, thank you. Another question would be supervision coaching. I heard you, I don't know if I heard you correctly, you said it can be an organizational coaching, supervision coaching, or who are the clients for supervision coaching? I know coaches, but can you also supervise, can you also have clients who are beginner coaches, or only the experts?
No. So anybody who coaches, they can be an external coach or they can be an internal coach. Or leaders or managers who use coaching skills, consultants who use coaching skills, anybody that wants to improve I guess I'll say the way they coach or the quality of their coaching for their stakeholders. Because if it benefits the coach, it benefits their clients, it benefits their organizations, or, you know, if they're in an organization, it benefits everyone. And I'm going to say that internal coaches, if you're going to, supervising internal coaches is different than supervising external coaches because they have different challenges. Is there anybody on this call who's an internal coach, is hired by an organization to coach the staff? No, I'm not hearing anyone. Anyways, you have different challenges. Because you know, you often know the person that your client might be having a difficult time with. So you might be more biased, right? Yeah, bias is a really big ethical dilemma for internal coaches to sort through. They're in a tough spot many times, a really tough spot. So that's what's different sometimes between external and internal. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'll call, how are we doing for time? I guess we're just about finished, but if it's okay, Karen Dufour-Deschamps, are you still on the call, Karen? Karen, are you here? Oh,
Yes,
Amanda's
yes.
Here. There we go. So, Karen, you were an internal coach, and I believe you've also done external coaching.
I've done
Correct?
both. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'm just calling on you to say, you know, do you see a difference between internal coaching and external coaching and the kind of ethical dilemmas you deal with?
Yes, absolutely. I would definitely say as an external coach. So now I'm an external coach. It's interesting. I'm still coaching some of my former internal coaches who have come back to me as an external. So yes, you're right about, I know a lot about them. I know a lot about them because as an internal coach, I was sitting in HR, talent management, for those of you who know that space. So I got exposed to a lot of information I really didn't want to be exposed to, but it was the nature of where I sat that people sent me reports. I'm like, I don't want to know this. I don't want to sit in on their performance reviews and where they're going to go. I'm here to coach them on what they want. So I'd say a big part was educating the client, right, Benita? It's educating the internal client to say, this is the kind of coaching I'm doing. These are the boundaries. But yeah, I would say
the stakeholder management gets much more complex, I think, in internal coaching.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then the other aspect is some of the internal coaching turned into then team coaching with almost all my one-on-one clients, which was very powerful.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
So
different dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to constantly, to Lux's point, you have to constantly be recontracting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Okay, thank you, Karen. Appreciate that.
Sure.
It's good for people to have an understanding of the difference between the internal and external challenges.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody, I see it's time to close, so I will turn it back to Fernando to close our session for today.
Benita,
Oh,
Benita, I have one more question if you have a few seconds.
okay.
Is there an accreditation body that we need to look out for coaching supervision training?
Good question. There aren't that many coach supervision training schools, and there isn't, to my knowledge, there's not a body that accredits schools at this point. EMCC, the European Mentoring Coaching Council, does accredit supervisors. So they're an independent body that accredits supervisors at this point in time, but not schools.
Okay, fine. So my best bet is AOCS, as you suggested, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Association of Coaching Supervision would be a good resource there for you. Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, over to Fernando.
Thank you very much, Coach Benita, for sharing your time and wisdom with us so generously. And Coach Lux, thank you very much for participating and helping us to enabling us this empowering moment. And I thank all of you for joining today and tuning in, and look forward to see you in our upcoming webinars. Have a wonderful rest of the time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Lux.
Thanks, Benita.
You're brilliant. See?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.